Dave, how would you say fall ball's gone overall to this point? And have there been any new guys who have emerged, or maybe guys that haven't done much in the past?
Well, fall's gone really well. I think you start with the pitching. It always starts with pitching. It's been really good. We've got some returners that are pitching extremely well. I think the ones that kind of jump out to me would probably be Connor Nolan's had a good fall. Stuff's good. Zach Morris has been good. I would say Evan Taylor, who has really good stuff, but hasn't really put it together here. We're hoping this can be a breakout year for him. Lefty with really good stuff. It's just a matter of him taking it to the game, and he's done it so far this fall. Sometimes it just takes time, and we're hoping that's the case with Evan, that he's ready to really contribute this year for us. Vermillion's been good. We haven't thrown Paulette. All those bullpens have been incredible. He's going to throw a couple more times off the mound, and then we're going to shut him down. But he seems to be 100% healthy, throwing the ball better than ever. He's gotten bigger and stronger, and he really starting to look the part. He's matured a lot physically and mentally, and we're expecting big things out of him. Hopefully, Wiggins has been really good as far as command. 3 pitches now instead of just a fastball and a changeup. He's got a breaking ball to go with that, and those are just a few. But there's been some really good freshmen too. I don't want to say a whole lot about those guys yet, but there's a few of those freshman pitchers that are going to do more than contribute. I think they're going to be right in the middle of our, whether it's rotation or coming out of the bullpen. We see some freshmen really helping us there. On the offensive side, there's some depth, returning depth, and guys are having really good falls. I guess the one that really jumps out at me is Braden Webb. Braden has 7 home runs this fall, 7 or 8, hitting over 350, incredibly gifted outfielder, playing center field, along with Caden Wallace. And if Caden's not playing third, I'm not sure who I'm going to put in center, but, right now Webb's the one that jumps out because he came in with an edge. He hasn't been 100% healthy since he's been here. Got off to some bad starts in the spring, and I just think that he's finally just realized it's just baseball, get over it, and, man, he is playing well. So Robert Moore is better than he has been, and that's saying a lot because he's awfully talented. We've got a couple of transfer. Michael Turner jumps out at me. Had a really good offensive fall, caught really well, played first base. Could go on and on, honestly, but a lot of guys have come back in and played well. There's a lot of competition to get on the field, and makes for a healthy team. I think again, the depth and camaraderie, and looking forward to finishing up out here in the next couple of weeks, really getting full bore in the off season, which is a lot of lifting, a lot of conditioning, strength and conditioning, and also kind of individual workouts, group workouts, breaking guys down, building them back up, and getting ready for spring.
I guess Battles, has he been out? Because I know he had a little procedure or something done, right?
Yeah, he had a surgery on his left shoulder. It was pretty good procedure. He hasn't been able to do anything. He's starting to lift lower half pretty good. He's staying in shape, riding stationary bike, treadmill work. He'll be fine. He'll be ready to go come February. But as far as the offensive part, he's missed the fall, which is, it is what it is. You're going to have injuries, but he'll get caught up. But he's been out there, great attitude, and we're just really excited that he's back.
Who's been working at short in his absence?
Well, we've had Robert Moore over there. We've had a couple of freshmen, Bernardo and Jude Putz, who played short. That's kind of what we've done in his absence. And Bernardo's a really good athlete. Hasn't had the fall that he's wanted to have, but we've seen a lot of athleticism there, quickness, good arm. Putz has been solid. Just hits a lot of singles, uses the whole field. pretty good defender, had some injuries he's been battling really the last couple of years. Be nice to get him healthy and see what he can do in the future.
Okay, thanks.
Matt?
Hey, Dave, all the assistant coaches and players I've talked to this fall have remarked about really strong focus that this team has had. I wonder what you see in that regard, and whether you think maybe the disappointment of the way last season ended has motivated them this fall.
Yeah, I just think it's part of our culture and just the way the program is. You know, we start early here in fall baseball. We start usually the first week of school or at the end of the first week, sometimes early into the second week, and we just want to get their attention. We want to get those guys out there and, you know, get them to play the way we want them to play, and we want to get them to know each other quick. And I know a lot of other programs, you know, they start 3 or 4 weeks in. Some of them are just starting now, and they'll go all the way to the holidays. I like to get our guys off the field and let them rest and get away from the game a little bit, as far as, you know, maybe bats and balls are competing, and get them bigger and stronger. But I think that has to do with the way our focus is. Guys come in, they know we're going to start early. They're hopefully they're mentally right when they get here, and they know that it's tough. Fall is tough. It's harder than the spring as far as physically, you know, with all that goes on, and you know, going to school, lifting like we lift 4 times a week, and then scrimmaging and practicing, and then it's really hot. And it's been a really hot September. So, but the team, they are very focused. I'm not going to say it's because of the way the season ended. Yeah, we came 1 game short of going to Omaha, but we had an incredible season, 50 wins, won everything that was out there for us. Every weekend we won. Whether we deserved it or not, we did. And they played great. And just really proud of last year's team. I mean, I can't say enough about them. The only disappointment I have is that some of the guys didn't get to finish their career in Omaha. But I just think the team's focused because that's what they do. They play baseball and they love it.
With Caton in center field, you mentioned that he's also a possibility at third base. Who are some of the other ones that you think could fill that third base for you?
Well, you know, obviously Wallace is maybe the front runner. We could put true freshman Peyton Stovall there. You know, he missed almost half a fall ball with a rib injury. His first live at bat, you know, that he's had in a batter's box since May was just a couple weeks ago, and it's gone pretty well for him, hitting the ball extremely well. He could also play some first base or second base, maybe even short. We haven't played him there, and that's what he played in high school his senior year. He played second base his sophomore and his junior year, and he's going to be really good at second in the future. But obviously that's Robert Moore's spot right now. But Peyton's going to get in the lineup with that bat. He's a very good hitter. So, you know, we could put Ethan Bates over there. We could put any one of the 2 freshmen that I already mentioned over there. So we definitely have some options at third. You know, when you're talking about battles at short, and a couple of young guys with Robert, you know, if Robert could play short, we could put Stovall at second. There's a lot of options. You know, Renato could play all 3 of those positions, and Bates can also play first base or corner outfield. So definitely have some options.
Andrew Ellis.
Hey, Coach, you know, you brought in a lot of talented position players, a lot of those in the outfield. And, you know, how, you know, you're going to have a lot of guys moving around and stuff. But what are some guys that you could see filling that DH spot?
Probably the odd man out, I guess, on the defensive side, because we've got some kids that can hit. We got older kids, got some younger guys. You know, we got a transfer from Wake Forest, Chris Lanzilli, that's, I think, finally starting to get comfortable here the first couple of weeks. He was kind of walking on eggshells. I mean, it's got to be difficult on the mental side when you're, you know, been in a program for 4 years and you come in and, you know, you see that there's some guys that are playing the same position that you do that are talented and strong. And first couple of weeks were just okay for him, but the last week or 2 have been really good. We've seen him really swing the bat, and he's got power from the right side. He's hit a bunch of home runs at the collegiate level. And, you know, so he's a guy I could see there. You know, we've got, you know, if we want to go left-handed, we can go left-handed. It really just depends on who's in the outfield. And if you know, if Jace Borfin is starting in the outfield and say Webb's in the outfield and, Slavens is playing some outfield. If those guys are in there, there's some big bats, and, we're going to have to figure that out. But I think it will evolve. The beginning of the season, you just kind of try to get your guys out there and things change. Every year I take a picture of the starting lineup that I post, and I'll usually go back about once a month and kind of look at it and see how it's changed, because it always changes.
I also wanted to ask you about freshman Kendall Diggs. I think a lot of people knew about Vernado and knew about Stovall, but has he been a guy that's kind of stood out to you or maybe been better than you expected? It seems like he's having a pretty solid fall.
He's having a pretty solid fall. He's had a few little setbacks injury-wise and sickness-wise. It hadn't been great for him. He's got one of the prettiest left-handed swings on the team. It's really flat and through the zone, stays in the zone, and he can hit the ball down the left field line. He can hit the ball off the scoreboard. I mean, there's a lot of potential there, and if he keeps working, we're going to get him in shape. We've got to get him in a little better shape and get him stronger. And, Blaine Kinsley's doing a great job with our strength and conditioning. And with our new facility, it's so convenient. And the guys are getting after it in there, and it's fun to watch. But I think you're going to hear a lot about Kendall Diggs this year and in the future.
Coach?
Yeah, Coach, you already mentioned Battles and Paul Epp. Another couple of guys I saw were listed as coaches on the Fall World Series rosters, Griffin and Bracken. Could you give an update on their status?
Yeah, so they're both throwing bullpens right now. It's so hard for me to talk about it. I haven't seen him pitch a whole lot in a while. Griffin hasn't thrown a pitch for us here. He came in and was hurt from day one, and he had Tommy John surgery, and this is one of our top recruits, coming in last year in the fall of 20, tall left-hander with a good arm, and it's coming back. And it's probably going to be better than ever. The arm action is actually a little cleaner, a little shorter than it was before surgery. He's throwing more strikes. He hasn't faced any hitters, but we see him pitching for us in the spring. We're just going to have to, once he gets to a certain point, we'll get him on the mound facing live hitters. And with Isaac Bracken, Isaac was going to be a guy that really could have helped us last year out of the bullpen. He was a Friday starter at Northern Colorado and came here as a grad transfer and throwing the ball 92, 93 miles an hour, maybe a little more, and then tweaked his elbow, not to the point where they wanted to do Tommy John, but, a lot of recovery, a lot of rehab, and we're just hoping that he's ready to go, come springtime. And we think he is. It's, he's pain-free. He's throwing the ball, but we're just on a timeline with him. And, yeah, those guys are, we put all the guys that are injured basically on a team just for support and coach a little bit. And, those guys could be a big part of our staff if they're healthy.
I went to a scrimmage, I think a few weeks ago now, and I saw where Slavens wasn't throwing the ball. Oliver said he had some arm soreness. Is he full go now? And is there any concern there at all?
No, he's resting his shoulder. Really more than anything, it's precautionary. We're not letting him play catch. He's resting it for another 2 to 3 weeks, and then he'll be on a throwing program and be fine. There's nothing there except a sore arm. It's called not throwing a lot in the summer and then coming out and throwing too much and hurting it. And it happens with guys that don't play summer ball or take some time off. The same thing happened with Stovall, but it was from swing. He hadn't swung a bat like he swung it the first day here, and he tweaked his rib, and that's a bad injury for a hitter. So we didn't let him pick up a bat for basically a few weeks, and then bringing him back slowly, and now he's good to go. It's kind of the same with Stovall. He's not throwing full bore, and neither is Wallace. Wallace was out at the Cape and had a little problem with his wrist. His back was bothering him. His arm was bothering him, and that's why we pulled him out of there. And he was just the day he came home was the day they selected the All-Star team, and his name was going to be on it. But we thought it was more important, and so did he. He was ready to heal up, and he's not throwing full bore either. If he's playing center field and there's a single to center and there's a runner on second, he's not throwing to home. And Slavens is the same way. He may kick it in there, to be honest with you. We're not letting him throw. So it's fall baseball, but we're trying to get our guys ready for February.
And speaking of Slavens, do you see him playing in the outfield this year? Or I know he's been at first, so I was wondering what you got in vision for him.
Yeah, he hasn't taken a ground ball all fall. with us, with the infielders. So I feel like he's going to play in the outfield a lot. And, if he had to help us in the infield here and there, we'll do it. But we know he can do that. He'll take some ground balls, in the infield every now and then. But right this fall, it's focusing on working on his first step in the outfield. And, he's shown us that he's got a little feel out there. The interesting part of playing outfield is the warning track and the fence. That's the difference between the really good outfielders and the average outfielders, is the guys who can run on that warning track and handle that fence a little bit. And that's what Webb's really good at. That fence, he's fearless out there. But also you got to be smart, and you got to know where it is. How many steps do you have between that grass and that warning track tells you? That's why they call it a warning track. That fence is coming up on you and it's not going to move. So Brady will get to play out there, and he's gotten a lot bigger and stronger, as you'll see. He's put a lot of strength in his lower half. He's hitting the ball harder and farther than he ever has here. His exit velocity off the bat is leading our team by a lot. I mean, every time he hits the ball, he hits it over 100 miles an hour. And that's ground balls, that's fly balls. I mean, he's putting a charge into it pretty good.
Phil?
Dave, you've had some really good catchers in the last few years that have had a chance to develop over the course of their time, like Grant Cook and like Casey. Dylan Leach, even started at an NCC game last year. I know he brought in a couple of other catchers, but how's Dylan looked in the fall, and what do you think about your catching situation right now?
Dylan's been fine. He's had some really good days. He's had some days when the arm's been a little wild, but the arm strength is there. The receiving is pretty good. And again, Dylan's really a freshman age-wise. And he's got some experience. He got to practice with us. He got to sit behind Casey Opitz and learn. He got to experience some SEC play and everything, the pitching, the hitting, the crowds. So that puts him a little more advanced, but at the same time, he's still very young. He's got 3 years of eligibility here. I think he's getting better. He's getting a lot more physical. He's even grown an inch or two, honestly, since he's been here. And then as far as our other catchers, we've got Max Solis Jr., who's about 6'6", can also play first base. He's got a good arm. He's hit a couple home runs this fall. He's got some power. Pretty good athlete for a guy his size, as you'll see. Just got to get better at blocking more than anything. And sometimes when you're a big-bodied guy, it takes a little more time. And we think that he's going to be fine. And then Michael Turner, who's a left-handed hitting catcher. I didn't say left-handed throwing catcher because I get asked that all the time when I bring that up. He hits left-handed, and obviously he throws right. At Kent State, he played infield and caught. He's had a really good fall behind the plate and at the plate. Brings a lot of experience. He's very physical. So we feel really good about our catching situation right now.
Come back around, Bob.
Yeah, Dave, if Slavens is going to primarily be an outfielder, what are your options at first?
Well, it's who we've worked over there this fall is our, Michael Turner, the catcher. We've talked about him a little bit. Peyton Stovall's played over there some and has done a nice job. Both of them have. We've also, we put Kendall Diggs over there. We've had Ethan Bates over there. He's done really well. Those are everyone I just mentioned was left-handed hitters. We've actually had Lanzilli over there a little bit. We've had Solis over there. I could play Wallace over there. I could go on and on. And so the first base position will take care of itself. As far as this series coming up, the red-white series, I'm letting the coaches run their own team. But you might see a different first baseman for each team, maybe 2 of the 4 games, 5 games, whatever it takes.
And then just what are you looking for out of the red-white series?
Just really more than anything, a little bit of closure on the fall. Want to see some guys play when maybe there's a little bit more on the line than just another fall scrimmage, and see how they handle it. I remember last year in the scrimmage, I pulled Wallace off to the side and I said, look, you played third all fall, but we're not sure who's going to play right field for us next year. And you're such a good athlete. And play, you know, I want to play you in right field in the red white series, see how it goes for you. And he was all about it. He knew that that was his best chance to get on the field as a freshman every day. And he went out, and I think his very first pitch he saw in the red white series, he hit it about 400 foot for a homer or more. And I think he hit another home run, hit really well, made all the plays. And, you know, so we learned something right there. And, you know, there might be a guy or two we're looking at it in a position, but really more than anything, just to see how they compete and want it to be a little bit fiery like it always is. You know, there's 7-inning games. I don't like 7-inning games, but, you know, you might have to play one every now and then. It changes the way you pitch, you know, as far as bringing in relievers. But then you stretch it out to 9 and you might run out of pitching. We don't want to overextend anybody. Obviously, don't want anybody to get hurt. But want to see the guys really play hard and kind of get an idea what they can do when a little bit's on the line.
And then when Robert goes to short, who are your second basemen?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. I'd probably put Peyton Stovall could go over there. It's where he's his natural position. He's good there, turns a double play, makes pivots. He's comfortable there. He's probably one that jumps out. And then obviously the two freshmen that play shortstop, you know, Barnardo and Jude Putz, they can play there. I work the guys out at all the positions all fall, so they get a feel for other spots.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Matt.
I noticed a new backdrop. Is that your new office?
No, this would not be my new office. This would be the meeting room. It's nice, isn't it?
Well, kind of a transition into, you know, using the new building. You guys, I know you talked a lot about the functionality of going from, you know, one room to the next and just how all that played together. I wonder what that's been like to see that all kind of come to fruition this fall.
Well, it's been amazing over here, honestly. You kind of have to walk through it. Have you guys been through it yet? Any of you guys? I know, well, maybe Brett has, but Phil, have you been here yet?
Yeah, Corey took me through there a month and a half ago. It's amazing.
Yeah,
really
it is. It is. And we're very fortunate to have it, watching it all come together. Really, since Hunter and I met, I think it was in January of 2018, talking about expansion and, you know, really talked about player development and what can we build for the players. And, you know, obviously there was going to be some entities for fans and, but it was really about development and recruiting and giving these kids an opportunity to be really comfortable and be in an environment over here that's probably second to none at this level. I mean, it's been very gratifying for me personally. I can tell you that, just from where we started 20 years ago in a really nice facility to now having, in my opinion, because of this facility and our, you know, indoor facility that's right next door, it's the best in the country. And I think that our team and our players realize what we have here. And we talk about it all the time about, you know, having such great facilities, but we've got to keep really a blue collar working attitude around here and not take anything for granted. And so far I've seen that. And, you know, the staff has done a great job of keeping these guys grounded. And we never really hear them talking about, you know, how great this is or how great we are. And because that only leads to failure. I think that we just keep working. And as long as we do that, we're going to keep winning and we'll keep getting good players. But this building's, it's phenomenal, honestly. If you walk through here, the way it's set up, it's just an easy look, and it's fun to recruit here too.
And then I wonder, have you guys been given any indication on when the 22 draft will be? And the reason I ask is twofold. I know you guys had trouble last year with it being after that July 1st deadline, but then also for Caden Wallace, I think if it's at its normal time, he's not draft eligible, but if it's in July, he is.
Yeah. And believe me, we know that. So, my guess is that it's going to stay right around that All-Star break again, because very disappointingly, I don't really feel like MLB, they say one thing, you know, how they care about college baseball and all these things, but realistically, they don't really care about our opinion. It puts us in a bind. It's not about keeping Caden Wallace. It's not about keeping another player. It's about trying to get your roster right, trying to be fair to the kids that are in the program that were draft eligible, that weren't drafted, the scholarship that they were on, the scholarship that the kids coming in are on. I saw many a kid that was probably going to end up going to school, end up at a JUCO or somewhere else because their programs didn't have enough scholarship money for them once these kids finally signed their contract, which, would have been in August. School starts here August 24th last year, something like that. It's been the 22nd. It's been the 20th. So we got 2 weeks to figure it out, or at 10 days. It's a bad setup. I don't know why they took it away. I don't think really anybody really cares about the draft and the hoopla around the All-Star game. And I've had many, when I say many, I'll say a few that I've talked with, general managers and other people that are in MLB don't think the upper level people are doing college baseball right, and they don't get it. They don't like it. It gives them less time to sign people. It's later. They can't send them out to a team. Yeah, you can tell you pushed a hot button with me. I don't like it at all. It's very frustrating. And MLB and all their, we want to work with college baseball and whatever. All you got to do is look in college baseball and see how many players we provide them with. And we let them use come around. We give them free access, and then they don't get our opinion on some. It's very frustrating. Or if they do, they don't. They've got our opinion. They don't care.
Phil?
Dave, with respect to pitching, you've had with some of your recent teams, pitchers take giant leaps forward in a season to kind of lead the way for a team. I'm thinking of Blaine Knight, Isaiah, Kevin Kopps. And with respect to that, to fall ball, I'm not asking for like a pitcher that you think will take a step forward like that, but what is it that you might remember from those guys' falls that might have given you an idea that they were maybe about to have a special season?
Usually it's a little bit of it is the way they just carry themselves on the field and the mound presence, the confidence. You can just see the change, and you talk about a guy like Peyton Paulette. He hasn't been out there to show us, but just the way he's walking around here just looks different. Physically, he looks different. He's still confident, and I'm not going to say cocky, but you can tell that, he thinks he can get anybody out, even though he hasn't been out on that mound. Sometimes just seeing it and being around it can jump you. And I see Connor Nolan. I think he believes now that he can get anybody out. And you know what? He's given up a home run or two this fall, but most of our guys have. They got good stuff, but our hitters are good. And they don't let it bother them anymore. Just go get the next guy out and make a little bit better pitch. I think Jackson Wiggins is a guy that night and day now compared to what he was last fall, or maybe even in the spring, question himself, and now he's got 3 pitches. And, I think he was up to 90, 98, maybe this fall, 97, 98. We know he can throw 100 miles an hour. He's proven that. He proved it with Team USA. But now he's pitching 95, 96, 97 with 3 pitches, and he's throwing strikes, not walking very many people. He's getting ahead in the count. I've just seen a jump there. And I mentioned Evan Taylor earlier. He's a guy that I've sat here and watched him for 3 years have some innings in fall baseball where you're going, wow, this guy's going to be really good. And then in the spring, it didn't happen. And I discussed that with him after the season was over. And I did all the talking, let's just put it that way. And I see a different pitcher. It's time. And I think he knows that. And I think he's going to do it. And I hope 10 years down the road that we have a conversation, something along the line of, hey, Coach, I'm really glad that you kind of told me what you thought after the season about my ability and how I wasn't using it, because it's there. And if he's serious, he could be really, really good out of the pen, and a left-hander that can come in and get lefties and righties out. And so sometimes guys just make a jump, and a lot of times it's more mental than physical, that they just feel like, hey, I belong. I've been here. I've done that, good or bad. I think that's kind of the way Webb feels now. It's like, heck with it. I've had 2 years here where I thought I was going to be the guy, and I wasn't. Athletically, there's not a better athlete on our team than Braden Webb. He's one of the best athletes I've ever coached. He can run, throw, hit for power. I mean, he has all the tools. Now it's just time for him to go do it. And he's done it this fall.
Wait, last thing, Dave, any of your guys, I'm sure they noticed the sideline catch in Jerry World. Do they have any comments for you on that?
Oh yeah, a couple of them, but you know me, I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. I just kind of laugh. I bobbled it a little bit. I was a little disappointed that I didn't catch it straight up, but it seemed like somebody stuck their hand out in front of me. That's my excuse. But anyway, it was fun.
You had a camera in the way.
Last question, Russell.
Dave, I noticed on the roster sheet out there at the stadium that you're wearing 21, Battles is wearing 2. How did that go down, and when was the last time you did not wear number 2?
Yeah. So starting with the last question, I think the last time I did not wear number 2 was when I was playing. So that would have been in the minor leagues. I think they gave me number 6 or something. So at least it wasn't 93 or some crazy number. It means you don't have very much time. But yeah, so the way it all went down, first off, the number 2, I don't know what the deal is, but the last couple of years, it's been like the requested number from every infielder and even some outfielders. I bet there's 5 guys a year that have wanted number 2 because that's what they wore in high school. I mean, Battles wore number 2, Stovall wore number 2, Diggs wore number 2. I could go on and on and on. Guys who were in the program last year that gone wore number 2. But so when Kendall got here, or excuse me, when Jalen got here, we kind of kidded around about number 2. He kind of would come to me and ask me about it. And, I said, I'll tell you what, you come back next year, you can wear number 2. He goes, okay. And that's kind of the way it started, I think. Fall went on. I think he brought it up one time. Now spring hit, he started talking about it a little bit. Halfway through the season, we're out there doing some ground ball work. And he says, Coach, I come back next year, you're going to give me number 2. And I said, Jalen, you're not going to come back next year. You're going to sign. Will you give me number 2? I said, yeah, I'll give you number 2. I care less, whatever. That went on 2 or 3 times. And then really with a couple weeks left in the season, he brought it up again. He brought it up right after the SEC tournament, which he was incredible in, hitting home runs, making plays, 50, 60, 100 scouts in the stands, cross checkers. And I just said to him, Jalen, you're going to be a high pick. You're going to get paid good. You're going to sign. He goes, you never know, Coach, but if I come back, I wear number 2. I said, sure. Season ends. A couple weeks go by. The draft's about 10 days out. He sends me a text about 9:45 one night. I go look at my phone, and it's Jalen. He says, Coach, I don't sign. You still good giving me number 2? I started laughing. I sent him a text back, said, you can have number 2, but you're going to be drafted really good in a couple of weeks. You're going to sign, whatever. Sure enough, draft's about to happen, and we're talking on the phone. He said, Coach, I want a lot of money. I'm going to come back. I didn't get enough at Arkansas. I want more. I've only been there 1 year. I loved it. I think I got a lot better, and if they don't give me X amount of money, I'm coming back. I said, okay, we'll see. But I still did not think he was coming. And then I talked to his dad the night before the draft, and I started thinking he might come back. And then he happened to forward me another text about the uniform. I said, it's all yours if you come back. And now I'm kind of wishful thinking, I hope he comes back. He's probably not coming back. Sure enough, he's wearing number 2, and I'll be wearing whatever number is available.
That's what you get for blocking Derek Jeter's number for all those infielders.
Yeah.
All right, Hutch, last one for real now.
Yeah, Coach, I know you said earlier you've got several freshman arms that you think are going to contribute. Do you know kind of how many might contribute this year? And you mind maybe sharing a few of their names? I know you don't like talking about freshmen sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would say, I'm looking down here at a sheet. I mean, I would say that there are maybe at least one lefty that's really going to contribute. And then, when you look at him, it's Hagen Smith, and it's pretty obvious if you watch him pitch. And Brady Tigard, he kind of tweaked his arm, but he's going to be fine. He's a mid-90s guy. Nick Moten's had a really good fall. Hasn't walked people, throwing the ball 94 to 96. Throws a breaking ball for a strike. Acts like he knows what he's doing on the mound, which I like, and he's confident. I think there could be something there. I think Ledbetter, who's been injured, came in injured and he's had a couple of good outings. He throws 3 to 4 pitches for a strike. He's kind of got starter type stuff. The fastball's been all the way. I think he touched 93, but mostly 90 to 91 with a slider, curveball, and change. He had a bad outing his last outing. I'm looking forward to seeing him pitch next time. Those are a few guys that jump out at me, and that's probably more than we've had in the past that I can honestly tell you that freshmen are going to, and I probably missed one, as far as a freshman. But it's nice knowing those young guys have a chance to contribute on a team that's going to be able to swing the bat.
We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for another football season. As always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With the new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for everything football. Head to your website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of these amazing offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.